body to respond. We have to overload it. You have to struggle. You have to work. But growth will be a result of that. But it takes an incredible amount of effort and something that we can never minimize, something that we can never take for granted, is how much change is involved. Someone who hasn't stepped into a gym in a number of years, for them to now walk into a facility that looks completely foreign, full of people that all look like they know what they're doing, to get themselves on a machine, to learn how to do that machine, to feel that muscle soreness during or after the exercise program, and to want to go back and experience that thing all over again, time and time again, takes an incredible amount of effort and something we can never take for granted. And it is that struggle that is preventing people from achieving their health and fitness goals. Not the fact that the machine wasn't available, not the fact that the facility wasn't available, not the fact they didn't know what to do. It was the reality of actually doing the thing that created a whole bunch of emotions and feelings that got in the way of them successfully incorporating that habit into their life. Now, as a fitness professional, we have a tremendous ability to overcome that. Because as a fitness professional, once I understand my role in the health and fitness industry, once I understand that my job is a coach to help facilitate change, I know that if somebody comes in who wants to incorporate fitness because they had a mild heart attack, so to achieve their goal, which is to prevent another heart attack, to increase their health and fitness, there is no way in today's session that I can hope to increase cardiac output, that I can hope to increase stroke volume, that I can hope to make the lasting changes necessary to prevent that heart attack down the road. I can't do that in a single session. But what I can do is to generate the feeling associated with that goal. So somebody who's come in because they maybe have had a heart attack is coming in because they're fearful. They're here because fear is motivating them. They don't want to have another heart attack. So if they're trying to move away from fear, what they are moving towards is safety and security. While I may not be able to create the physiological benefits they're after today, I can certainly create the emotional ones. I can help them feel safe. I can make them feel comfortable. I can make them feel secure when they're with me. Because what we've got to realize, again, is that emotion dictates every decision that people make. Take another example. Somebody that comes in because they want to gain muscle. Say it's a young man that comes in because he wants to gain muscle. And he wants to gain muscle because he just wants to be bigger. He wants to feel more confident. In my 20 plus years in the health and fitness industry, I've never come across somebody who wants to gain muscle simply because they want to take up more space on the planet. They don't want to get bigger simply because they want to wear bigger clothes. There is always an emotion behind that goal. They believe that by increasing muscle, by getting bigger, they will feel more confident. They will feel stronger. They will feel more self-assured. And it's that feeling that they want, not necessarily the physiological manifestation of it. They believe if I achieve the bigness, if I increase muscle size, I'll get what I want. So what I've got to realize is my goal is not to increase muscle size necessarily. My goal is to make them feel confident. And again, I can't increase muscle size in today's session. Only by following today's session with another one and another one, another one, another one, another one, can I hope to achieve increased muscle hypertrophy at some point in the future. But what I can create today is a feeling of confidence. I can help make you feel stronger. I can make you feel powerful in today's session. Because I know if I do that, that's fundamentally what you want. You want to feel stronger, you want to feel confident. And when you're with me, if you feel those things, you will come back again. Because what dictates your decisions? The emotion associated with doing the thing. However, if in a session, I am purely focused on the physiological aspect of things, And when doing the exercises, you feel insecure, you feel uncomfortable, you feel intimidated, you feel nervous. Even if the program is physiologically the most sound, it is those feelings associated with doing it that will dictate your decision, and most likely that decision will be not to come back. However, if I understand as a coach that what's driving your decision to come in and achieve your health and fitness goals is an emotion at the root of it, to feel stronger, to feel more powerful, to feel confident, then what I can be certain is that when you're with me, everything I do is going to increase those feelings of confidence, of strength, of power, of self-assuredness. Because if I can give you that feeling, then you'll come back because you want that feeling again. And that's our job as a coach, is to continue to enhance that. Now, one of the greatest tools that we have as a coach is to direct attention. The power of attention is one of the most powerful tools that we have as a coach. Now, when we are looking at the moment-by-moment decisions, we want to ask ourselves, can we dictate the thoughts that enter our mind? So just ask yourself that. Can you dictate the thoughts that can enter your mind? And very quickly, we'll probably learn that we can't. We have no control over what thoughts enter our mind. What we can control are which ones we pay attention to. Now, if you are struggling and you are struggling to grasp that, I'll ask you to think about a red marker. Now, what I want you to understand, at that very moment, you did not have the choice of whether the thought of a red marker entered your head. It was something that I put into your environment. And by putting it into your environment, it came into your stream of consciousness. But you didn't have the choice of whether I put that into your environment or not. But what you do have the choice of is, do I pay attention to that thing? So I think that, depending on what research you read, there's suggestions that over 70,000 thoughts will enter your mind in a given day. Those thoughts can be anything coming from anywhere, most of which you have no control over. They're a factor of the environment that you're in. There may be a noise outside. There could be a plane flying overhead at any moment. You go, oh, what's that noise? Oh, is that a plane? Okay. You didn't have a choice of whether that plane was flying by. You didn't have a choice of whether that sound caught your attention. What you did have a choice of is, how much effort and attention do I put into that thing? And the power of attention can be one of the most powerful things that we can incorporate as a health and fitness professional. What I want to ask you to do is to take a couple minutes and go through an exercise with me. And in this exercise, I just want to try to direct your attention to teach you to learn how to use your attention as a spotlight. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I want you to pay attention to nothing else. And close your eyes and just listen to the sound of my voice. And I want you to direct your attention to the feeling of the big toe in your left foot. Pay attention to it without moving it or touching it. Just pay attention to it. Just find it. What does the feeling of the big toe in your left foot feel like? What's the texture of your sock or shoe? How heavy is it? Now I want you to pay attention to your heartbeat. Block everything else out. Pay attention to nothing but the beating of your heart within your chest. Now I want you to pay attention to the sound of the clock on the wall, or a bird outside. Nothing else exists. Block everything else out. And now I want you to direct your attention back to the feeling of the heart within your chest. Pay attention to nothing else. just find your heartbeat. And open your eyes. And what you do is take a couple minutes to appreciate that process. And hopefully everybody took advantage of that. And if you didn't, and I will bet there will be some people who didn't, I want you to recognize what just happened. If you chose to not take advantage of that, if you opened your eyes halfway through, or if you never closed your eyes in the beginning, I want you to ask yourself why. And maybe it was because you felt uncomfortable, you felt awkward, felt silly. And if that's the case, then I simply want you to appreciate that you struggle to do the same thing that we're asking our clients to do. In the face of something uncomfortable or awkward, you chose not to do it. Now, if you are sitting there at home and watching this and going, yeah, that was me, then just rewind it and go back and do it again. But there will probably be a percentage of people who went, this is silly, and they open their eyes halfway through. And if that happens, then we have to understand that process, the struggles that our clients face, we have to understand the feeling of it. It's not a blame thing. I understand as someone very early on, when someone asked me to do that, I thought, this is silly. And I went, what am I doing? There's an opportunity to learn something new. There's an opportunity to increase my awareness or understanding of something. Because the emotion associated with it feels silly or uncomfortable, I choose not to do it. That's the struggle. So let me go back and actually try to sit through the awkward feeling. Let me try to push through it. And if you do, you'll learn something. Now, having gone through that exercise, what I want you to ask yourself is, when I directed your attention to the feeling of the big toe on your left foot, did it become more real? Was that feeling more real at that moment than it was 10 minutes ago? When I directed your feeling to the heart within your chest, was that feeling more real at that moment? And when you ask yourself, was that feeling of the big toe on your left foot, was that there 10 minutes ago? The answer is very clearly yes. You just weren't paying attention to it. And that's a really powerful thing to understand, is that in those moments of struggle, when we come across points where thoughts and feelings of frustration and anxiety and fear and frustration are upon us, the thoughts and feelings of joy and happiness and confidence and success are there. We are just not paying attention to them. Those feelings have not left us, we have left them. Because what's grabbed our attention is something louder. So in that moment at the very end where I asked you to just pay attention to your heart and the feeling of your heart beating within your chest and nothing else, and I started snapping my fingers, how many people's attention just went to, why is Doug snapping his fingers? Why is he doing that? Why is he distracting me? Because again, at that moment, you didn't have any choice as to what entered your environment. All you could do was to focus your attention and the amount of effort you were putting into that attention to the feeling of your heart beating within your chest. But as soon as something distracts you, you kind of grab it. And we lose the focus, we lose the attention that we were just paying to that thing. However, that thing is still there. The feeling of the big toe on your left foot is just as obvious now as it was 30 seconds ago, as it was 10 minutes ago. The only question is, how much effort are you putting into attending to that thing? When we come across points of struggle, the feelings of anxiety and frustration and fear are there, clearly, but they grab our attention and they become louder. But the feelings of success and happiness and confidence are still there. We're just not paying attention to them. Struggle and growth. One does not happen without the other. When I am going through struggle and I am experiencing anxiety and fear and frustration, it's because I'm in the process of learning. I'm in the process of change. I can either look at that and recognize it as struggle, as fear, as frustration, or I can direct my attention to what else is happening and look at the success and the growth that is occurring. and the confidence and the joy and the happiness associated with the growth, and direct my attention to those with more effort than the fear and the frustration. That's the power of attention, and we have the ability to direct that with our clients when they're working with us and we're working with them. And as we go through the rest of the module, we're going to look at the different opportunities that we have to direct that attention. But to understand that the process of change is going to create environments in which variables are entered in at all points which we cannot control. And we want to look at what dictates what thoughts enter our mind. How does past experience, how does current and past perception dictate what thoughts enter our minds, so we can understand the emotional and psychological journey that someone's going on. And as we get better at understanding that, we can get better at facilitating it. But in this first section, I simply wanted to make sure that we looked at what dictates the decisions that people make. That to create long-lasting change, to successfully incorporate a health and fitness program, means we need to be very aware and conscious of the moment-by-moment decisions that we're making. We have to be very clear that oftentimes what dictates those moment-by-moment decisions is the emotion associated with doing the thing. We have to understand as health and fitness coaches that when we are asking someone to incorporate change into their life, we can help facilitate the emotion that they're after. That there is always an emotional goal at the root of a physiological one. That someone wants to get big because they want to feel confident, more powerful, stronger. That someone wants to reduce weight because they want to feel more self-assured, because they want to reduce their fear of heart disease, that they want to reduce their anxiety levels. I can't achieve either of the physiological things today, right now in the moment. But what I can help you create is the underlying emotion driving those goals. That as a coach, when you're with me, if I understand the process of coaching, if I understand the process of behavior change, I can be assured that everything I do is going to elicit the feeling that you're after. Because if I can elicit that feeling, that thing that you're after, then you will come back because you want to feel it again. So for the guy who comes to me and wants to get big because he wants to feel strong and powerful, then when he's with me, I'm going to elicit the feeling of strength and power and confidence. For the person who's with me because they want to reduce fear, when they're with me, I'm going to help them feel safe and secure and comfortable. Because if I can do that, it's those emotions that dictate their decisions. It's that emotion that'll get them to come back again and again and again. And it's the coming back again and again and again that will eventually lead to the physiological outcome. So as we move through the rest of the module, we're going to start to look at how past perceptions dictate the thoughts that are entering in someone's mind, and how we can practically facilitate that process within a coaching session. See you in another minute.